Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Manuel Graphics video tutorial over on youtube.com. Anyway, so today we're going to be making something really nice and simple. Lately I've been doing quite a lot of the low poly type tutorials, so I decided it would do a reasonably long tutorial. Well, not reasonably long, just a in-depth tutorial on gathering our techniques that we've learned and making something really cool. And again, this tutorial was inspired by Mograph's low poly animations tutorial, except it was just inspired what he made. And I also saw the Lighthouse that I made in the Seaside project, and I said, oh yeah, that'd look cool if I made this into a tutorial. So anyway, I'll show you what we'll be making today. So we're going to be using Blender and Gimp. Something we haven't used for a while now, but it comes out with a really nice effect. So here we go. This is our initial render from Blender. So we've got our lighthouse, our rock, our water, and we've got some clouds and a nice sky. As you see, our water's got a nice gradient there. And then I'll show you the final product. And basically, we're going to add some of these in Gimp. These final effects, as you can see, it's looking really nice. Some color corrections and stuff like that. So today we're going to get started now. So open up your Blender, and you can see that this is the scene, obviously. Let me do this. Let me just copy that so I know where my... So let's go to File New, and we're going to reload our startup file, and this will be the file that you see as soon as you open up Blender. And I'm simply just going to go like that, hit B on a keyboard and delete them. We're just going to hit Shift A. We're going to get a plane, we're going to scale it out. We're going to go into edit mode, we're going to subdivide it. There we go. We're going to also add a modifier, displace modifier, as we do when we're making our water. Strength can be 200, and I'm going to have decimate and just make that more low poly. Okay, so we're going to be doing some compositing today with our materials. Other than that, nothing really complex, apart from the modeling factor. And yeah. Okay, so we've got our water here. I'm going to do the materials as I go. So I'm going to make a new material. Make sure I'm in cycles render, because we don't want a blender render, because cycles is just best. Okay, we're going to call this water, and we're going to select our surface as a mix shader. We're then going over to our diff friend up here, the compositor, and we'll just use the nodes, and we'll go into our little materials tab here. So what we've got here, we've got our mix shader. We're then going to hit Shift A, and we're going to search for a diffuse, and we're going to connect the to them, and then we're going to get a transparent, just add our little water effect as we go. We're then going to add, for our transparent, for the color, we'll go for like a bluish, like that. And we'll Shift A, and we're also going to add a color ramp. We're then going to add we're then going to change this color to a green, like so, and this white to a blue. So we've got a nice tropical color here. So then we're going to add a gradient texture. Drag this down to our FAC down here, and we're going to then add a texture coordinate generated to our vector, like so. So this is my node setup. So we've got our mix shader, which is getting diffuse, which is a gradient, and the gradient texture and the texture coordinate. So there we go. So that's our compositing done. So if you didn't get that, just slow the video down, go through it step by step, and we're just going to go back into our default. We're then going to add a viewport color and get the color just from here. So that's our water. In fact, can we... We're going to put it on the... We'll keep it on 0.550, and that's looking nice. Our water's looking really pristine and clean. So we're now going to make our rock. So we're going to add a... it's an icosphere. We're going to go to our modifiers, and we're going to give it a displace modifier. And then of course a decimate, and we're going to scale it up and scale it down and lift it up a bit. Sorry, so we want it in the water. Okay, our rock's looking reasonably good. Let's just flatten it down a bit, like so. Okay, so we've got our rock here, and we're just gonna give it a new material called rock, of course, because it is a rock, and we're gonna give it a grey color, like so. So far our scene's looking reasonably good, and we're going to make our lighthouse. So down here we want our vertices on 20 and our cat fill type on Nigon. Yeah, just the vertices on 20, that's the only difference. So then we're going to go to front view and then orthographic mode and scale ours up into edit mode and wireframe mode. Hit B on a keyboard, select those vertices, bring it out, bring it in, and we're going to zoom in. We're then going to Control R and drag it up like so, and hit B, select those two, hit E, then scale. E, so if you didn't get that, we're going to, if we just scaled that like that, it would end up like that, but we're going to hit E, then click, then scale. If I go to top view, I can then see how that turned out. Yep, that's looking quite nice. In fact, I'm just going to flatten that down a bit. Okay, that's looking good. We're then going to hit Control R again, and we're going to add 3 cuts and just click and leave them there. Okay. Now we're just going to make a new material called white, and of course we're going to ramp all the way up to white. Make a new one called red. I'm going to find a nice red down here, something like that. It's quite a nice red, and we're going to go into wireframe mode again, and on this we're going to select that top bar here, sign that red, that'd be white, and then here we go, red, sign, and the base here, we red. Okay, that's looking nice. Let's just push it back and up. Okay, our lighthouse is looking nice so far. Okay, we're going to shift A, and we're also going to add another cylinder. Go to top view, scale that down quite a bit. Okay, now we're going to add our like pillars. So make sure it's touching, and there probably is an easier way to do it, but this is the way I did it originally, and this is the way I probably will do it. It's a little more time consuming, but this is how I did it. So I'm just going to add a material. I'm just going to give it the white material. Anyway, this is the way I did it in the seaside thing, and this is the way I'm going to continue to do it, and then, unless I learn how to do it differently. But so I'm going to add a modifier, and I'm going to add the mirror modifier, and I'm going to mirror my cylinder here. And I'm going to bring it out like that. Okay, so on the y-axis, I'm going to put it at the topmost point, which is just here. I'm then going to shift D, I'm going to move it across and down. Shift D, across, then down. A bit up, of course. Shift D, out, across, in, across. And we're going to Shift D and then push that into the center like that. We're then going to duplicate them, rotate them on the 90 degrees. Is that not enough? Don't worry about that, we'll just continue doing what we're doing. It's just a bit more time consuming, but I think the effect comes out a lot more personalized. And we're going to drag it down like that. In, down, in, Shift D. Let's just push that in a bit. Okay, they're looking good actually. So that's our little bar. Okay, so far so good. Okay, now we're going to add our little thing that connects them, so the railing. So we're going to go Shift A, we're going to add a, I think it's the NURB circle, it might be the Bezier, but we'll try NURBs first. Move it across on our y-axis and then up on our z. So it's touching like so. Make sure it's scaled to the right size for all of them. Okay, we're going to Shift A and then add a circle, a Bezier circle, and scale it. Okay, now with our NURB circle up here, we're going to add a bevel, and that's our Bezier. And as you see, it worked perfectly. We just need to scale our Bezier circle all the way down, and that's our railing done. And we're just going to pull that. Yeah, that's looking nice. Where's our thin that out a bit. And we're going to, of course, give it our material of white. Okay, looks nice. Okay, so now we're going to make our top. I'm going to center that. And to make our top, we're going to add a cylinder. go into front view as we do, scale it in, and push it down. And if I go into top view, going to align it in the center. Okay, looking good. We're then going to go into edit mode, select our top vertices here, drag them out, and scale our thing up like so. There we go. So that's looking nice, our top there. And to make our like cap, we're gonna add a cone, drag it all the way up, and push it down on the Z axis, like a little hat, and scale it out. Scale it out a bit more than that, and we'll flatten it a bit more. Like so. So, oh, it's like a disc now. We don't want that. We actually do want the cone's shape. So just okay. That's looking good. We're going to give this the white course, and that we're going to make like a glass material. I'm either going to use just the default glossy. Yeah, I might use the default glossy. If I just click rendered, I can actually see what it looks like. Yeah, I'm just going to use the default glossy. That looks fine. Okay, so that's our lighthouse complete. That's just looking bad. That needs to be smaller. There we go. Looking nice. Looking good. Okay, so that's our scene setup. We're going to now do some lighting. So we're going to Shift A. We're going to add our sun lamp, because that's what we do all the time. And we're going to add that there, strength 2, and blue, like so. We want the light coming like so. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, now we're going to also add our camera. And if you hit N on your keyboard, we're going to go up to our location. And as I did at the start of the video, I screenshotted it. So we're going to have, for the X, we've got 0. And for our Y, we have -20. And for our Z, we have 2. Then for our rotation, we've got 97, 3, and then 1. And then we'll just turn our camera up, and we click View Camera. And this happened with me in the original. The lighthouse looks like it's tilting, so we're just going to select all using our B key, and we're just going to rotate this on the Y axis. And then the Z, X. Okay, that looks good. The camera. Okay, now as you see, if we render this out quickly, we've got this really not nice background. Sorry, we don't even have a background. So we're going to make a quick background, and as a plane, looks 90, and we're going to pull this thing out on the Y-axis. Scale it up. Doesn't matter if I'm gonna tilt. I have no idea why it does that. It's obviously something that I've done with the camera. Okay, now for the material, I'm gonna call this sky. Now the sky's all up to you, but I'm gonna be using a diffuse, and I'm just gonna be going to my compositing, my material, and I'm just gonna make a simple a gradient that I did before to make our water. So instead of greens and stuff, I'm just gonna go quite a light blue to a darker blue. That's a bit too. We want tropical colors, so I'm gonna try. Yeah, that might actually turn out quite nice. Don't forget our gradient texture. That's important. Drag that into our FAC again and the vector. Okay, let's just preview. Yep, just what the effect I'm looking for. Default. Yeah, let's give us a quick render to see how things are looking. Okay, I'm gonna need to change that glass. We're obviously gonna have to give it a transparent. See what that looks like. Yeah, we'll give it a transparent. That looks much better. Okay, so that's what we've got here. We're just going to, you'll want to render this out at 200 samples, like so. And everything else should be good. So after you've rendered that, so I'm just going to move on to the color corrections. And then after you render that, after the render is completed, you want to move on to this step that I'm about to do. So I'm just going to use my render that I had before. It doesn't look as good. The clouds you can add on your own personal preference, but it doesn't look as good as the current render I've just made, but it'll work perfectly for this. So I'll just open up Gimp to open up, and then I'll show you these steps I go through when I'm doing my color corrections. I usually do them in Photoshop using adjustment layers, but today we've got a special occasion. I'm using Gimp again for our tutorials. So we're going to go to where's our file? File, Gimp? Ah, here we go, sorry. File, open, and of course we're going to open our Lighthouse render. And that comes up nice and large here for us, and we're going to go to our, we'll be basically using our colors most of the time. We're going to add a curves adjustment. Excuse me. We're going to pull down and yeah, keep on pulling and drag up. Just giving us some contrast there, as you can see. We're then going to add a brightness and contrast. And since Gimp doesn't have a vibrance tab, I just use the brightness to play around that. So I'm going to use like a brightness of 20 and the contrast of 2, just so it's looking quite good. And we're still getting some not so nice stuff going on around here. So we're going to simply add a hue and saturation. We're gonna mess around. See, this is the bit that changes your color, so you can have a really abstract piece just by using this. But I'm gonna stick with what I've got, and I'll go something with like -11 for this piece. But I still want the reds, so I'm just gonna, and that's like I want the reds still, but they've gone a bit pink, so you can always like adjust those later, like using a brush and stuff. But so far it's looking quite nice. I don't want it too abstract, so I might pull it back a bit to like a -6, just to enhance those colors. And what I'm then going to do from here is I'm just going to add a another curves. We're going to pull up. Is that doing anything? No, it's not. Why is this not doing it? We'll go colors, curves again. Anyway, we'll just drag up. Okay, now it's... Sorry guys, curves, preview. Okay. Just gonna pull up and pull down. We want up there. How's that looking? It's looking reasonably nice actually. We don't want it too bright up there. Overall, looking quite good from here. Now we're going to make a new layer. And it's all about personal preference with our colours up here. It's all about personal preference and how you like your colours to look. So right now we're going to grab our blend tool, or gradient tool, and we're simply going to stroke down a black to white gradient, like so. And we're going to set this on soft light. And lower the opacity, and that just adds that extra bit of contrast as well. We're then going to make another new layer, and we're going to add this time this green, so 63A97A, and this blue. These would look reasonably nice colours. And we're going to set up an overlay and just lower that opacity. Like without it, with it. Just gives us some really nice colours we're getting. Okay, so that's basically all the GIMP stuff done, and after you finish with your GIMP stuff, we just go to File, Export. So, thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I shall catch you in my next tutorial.